Welcome to the Morning Magazine. We welcome your phone calls at 460-1530 or toll free at 888-434-1530. But we do ask that you limit your calls to once an hour, please. If you are too shy, you can email the show at onair@wengradio.com. Views expressed on the Morning Magazine are not necessarily those of the staff and management of WENG, Viper Communications, or their advertisers.
And a very good morning. Welcome into the Thursday edition of the Morning Magazine here on WENG. I'm KB, Ken Birdsong, and thank you for being with us for the Thursday edition. And we got a great show for you this morning. Coming up in just a moment, we're going to be visiting with Jody Hager, Recovery First Treatment Center alumni promoting National Recovery Month. And we talked about this, about a month ago or so here on the program. And we'll be visiting with Jody in just a moment. And then in the last half of the program this morning, Ray LaBeatty, I understand, is going to be joining us, and we're going to be talking about Waterfest 2017 that's coming up in November here in Inglewood, boy, we're closing in on that, so a lot of information coming your way this morning here on the Morning Magazine. Joining me now on the Morning Magazine, we'd like to welcome to the WENG microphones Jody Hager, and Jody, like I said, Recovery First Treatment Center alumni promoting National Recovery Month, and Jody, give us a little synopsis, and a good morning to you. Give us a little synopsis as to what is happening now.
Good morning, Ken. First of all, I want to thank you for having me on your program. About a year ago, it'll be a year in October, my wife gave me a number and said, text me and said, call this number or else. It's your choice. Uh-huh. And I texted her back and said, I choose you. And at that time, I was still drinking and using, and I called, and it was the American Addiction Center. I spoke to a guy named Chase who walked me through everything. My life was just falling apart, and so I had the opportunity to come to Recovery First in Hollywood, Florida. That was in July of last year, and that's where everything started.
I understand. Now, what actually got you started? What got you hooked? What was the beginning of all of it for you?
For me, at 12 years old was the first time I ever used any drugs. But from the time I was 8 to 12, I had started drinking here and there with older kids. My parents had gone through a divorce. I was always kind of sad and depressed, and hung out with these people. And when I can't remember that I liked it, but the first time I smoked pot, I was 12. But I did remember I liked the way I didn't feel anymore.
Mm-hmm. Kind of an escape,
that
right?
Started, sir, yes, sir, absolutely. And that started a 35-year roller coaster ride when I met cocaine in 1983. It just began an addiction cycle that went everywhere, from homelessness to prison to failed marriages, families, careers, and that's what happened.
Yeah. Recovery Month is, what is National Recovery Month, and why is it important, Jody?
Well, National Recovery Month, it's just to increase awareness and understanding of mental issues that are associated with substance abuse disorders, and it's also to help celebrate recovery and show people that I had been labeled the hopeless kind, and I got help, and from then on, I have a life because of that. Mm-hmm. I have a life that I enjoy. I enjoy helping others. I enjoy just working with people, and I never thought I would ever get sober or clean. Didn't think it was possible.
So that joy of helping people and all has replaced the drugs in your life then?
Oh, absolutely. And the more it gives back to me, the more I want to protect it. It's given me so much back that I never thought I would have. Uh-huh. My children, my family, my wife, the ability to be responsible and just be a productive member of society. Not only that, but just I literally get to help other people, and that's just it's awesome. And it all came about through recovery.
Yeah. Now, what was it that made them label you hopeless?
Well, like I said, my first introduction to cocaine was in 1983, and from that, a lot of people did it recreational, this and that, but when I did it, within 10 months of doing it, at the time I had a great career job, I had a new home, a new car, a new wife. Within 10 months of trying cocaine, for whatever reason, I had nothing.
Wow.
So I lost it all within the first year.
Yeah. Was it because you were on the drug so long, or was it the drug itself that made them list you as hopeless?
Well, when it started there, like I said, it began a 35-year cycle of trying to stop, trying to get help, supposedly, and it went up and down so much and in and out that people just quit believing. And even people in recovery, they even say it in some of the book studies and things that, some people have been labeled the hopeless kind due to, I guess, their mental instability and the effect it's had on their life. But, that's been proven wrong for me. And like I said, it was a 35-year roller coaster ride of trying to get clean and sober and failing over and over and over.
That's just amazing. And there are a lot of people, Jody, I've got to tell you, you must be a very strong person, because there are a lot of people out there that would love to kick a habit, even like smoking, and they're just not strong enough or able to do that. What advice would you give to those people? Because you're obviously very strong.
Well, Ken, I sincerely appreciate the kind words, and I've even made that statement to others in the last year. It's not because I'm that strong. It's not because, if I was that strong, why would I have gone up and down for 35 years? What happened was I lost so much, and the pain became so great that it forced me to do what they asked me to do. Before, I had my own ideas. I'd do some of it, but not all of it, and it kept repeating itself.
Mm-hmm.
But there is, like I said, it's possible. It's actually, recovery works. I finally got to a point where I worked the program and done what they asked me to do. And once I started doing that 100% with no reservations, my life changed.
Yeah. Recovery Month is about celebrating the lives saved and the amazing stories of how people got there. This is especially important here in Florida, because Florida has one of the highest overdose rates in the country. Governor Rick Scott declared national emergency in May of 2017. An estimated 4,000 people died from opioid overdoses in Florida in 2016. I've got to ask you, Jody, what do you think is behind this? I don't know exactly what to call it, this opioid situation that we've got here. What do you think is causing that?
I spoke about that the other day. Even though I myself, that's not being minimizing, but I myself never had anything to do with opiates or heroin. That what I've seen, I had this stigma, this picture of, people on heroin were like New York City back alley stuff. But today, these kids are taking these pain pills and stuff, whether it be for a sports injury or at a party, and the opiate effect it becomes not just mental but physical. First, it's a great feeling, and then you get to where you want it all the time, and it's become an epidemic. And it's sad. I've watched so many people since I've been here, met, sat with, talked to. They're young. They look like high school, football stars and cheerleaders and homecoming queens. But this stuff is just rampant, and it's killing young people. And anything I can do to step in and be some kind of hope for anybody, that's really all I have to give. But that's what I want to do.
Yeah. What about these people that are involved in accidents and things like that and end up in the hospital? And then I hear stories all of the time about people come out of the hospital and they're addicted to painkillers because that's what they received in the hospital, to a degree that now they're addicted to it.
That's true. It's funny you say that. I have friends who are lawyers, doctors, and no matter your level in life, I've seen it happen to everyone. Every type of person, as far as any level in life.
Mm-hmm.
I myself don't know, but whatever it is, it's a feeling that evidently takes some pain away, not just physically, but create some kind of feeling that they need to get away from to start with, and then it becomes physically addictive. And after that, it's just it's a mental obsession,
right?
To feel this feeling over and over and over again, but it's taking you deeper and deeper. And I'm not really educated on opiates and heroin and things, but I'm learning because it's the biggest thing right now that's not only killing young people, but just like what happened to me, it's taking over lives. And so, anyway.
Now, where are we talking to you at this morning? Where are you?
I am actually at my job in Boca Raton, Florida, and okay. I took a break, and there again, I was jobless, homeless, everything else. I have a great job and responsibilities, and I'm able to help people. Some people sometimes, if they need it financially, emotionally, spiritually. It's even my bosses and the people here at this job. They allowed this. They said, go take care of that. That's something that needs to be done.
You bet.
And I have gained respect again from people just by living a clean and sober life and just being honest and doing the work needed to get there.
Yeah. How did you become involved in Recovery Month? I mean, you're obviously a spokesman. You're on the radio talking about it. So how did you get involved with Recovery Month to begin with?
Well, I'm not really a spokesman, but I did have a career in music. I became a songwriter in Nashville and was a songwriter for Sony and then with Warner Brothers. So through the music and songwriting and performing, I performed the Grand Ole Opry and played on the same stage with Vince Gill and Ricky Skaggs and Jack White. But long story short is when I came to Recovery First, I came also as a songwriter. And when American Addiction Center said they were going to send me to Hollywood, I thought they meant Hollywood, Florida, because I was kind of messed up, and I was like thinking, this is going to be great. I'm going to Hollywood. And I got off the plane in Fort Lauderdale, and I'm at Hollywood, Florida. But during my stay there, I wrote a song called Hollywood about being there and thinking I was going to Hollywood. It's a little bit of humor in it, but very serious also about getting sober, clean and sober. And after I left there and got into recovery, I began to visit the treatment centers and do some radio shows around here on Recovery Radio, .fm, and Redemption Road Radio. And so people just contacted me and said, they loved the song. It was informative yet humorous yet serious. And I just began to get offers to, would you speak to somebody in this place or that place. And that's how I got here.
So you kind of became an unofficial spokesman.
Well, yeah. I'm just a guy who could not get clean.
Jody, what an interesting story you've got. You were a songwriter in Nashville, and now you live down in southern Florida. You got caught up on some pretty heavy-duty drugs, and you recovered from that. You have a good life now, and that's a wonderful story. But life wasn't always so good, was it? You had a little problem with incarceration?
Yes, sir. I was going to touch on that, and you were talking about me being a spokesman or whatever. I'm just a guy, and it makes me a little nervous to be on here like this. But when it comes to things like this, honesty, drugs took me to. I'd never even had anything but a speeding ticket till I was 28. But by the time I was 28, I had been doing cocaine 6 years, and it started to affect me legally because I needed money to get more and more. Mm-hmm. And I would justify it by not, I said, well, I didn't rob nobody or break in this or that, but I was doing all these things with forgeries and things. And after a while, they got tired of it. And I actually was sentenced to 9 to 12 years over that felony. And it's just amazing the fact that all this stuff has happened with incarcerations, overdoses, and things. I don't believe I'm that strong. I don't believe that I'm any different than anybody else. I just believe that I've been shown a lot of grace and mercy and a chance to have a life. And God chose American Addiction Center and Recovery First to do that, and so I'm not going to stop. If I stop doing what I'm doing, then what's the use? There's people out there that need hope, and like I said, I'm no big star or anything, but I am a man in recovery and who has been given a life that's worth living now.
Yeah. I've got to ask you, what do you, this is an opinion, obviously, but what do you think people like you who are hooked on that, do the majority of them want away from it and try to get away from it, but they can't, they don't have a good reason like you did?
Oh, absolutely. And I had a good reason all those other times for 30 years. Like I said, people are different. But the biggest point I want to make is it's going to take you further and further down. I'm just glad I stayed alive long enough to live. But people don't want to be that way. Every one of these people have somebody they love. The losses are painful. The life, the embarrassment, the lack of self-esteem and drive. It affects everybody the same way. But there again, there's nobody hopeless. Nobody is hopeless at all.
And then I think there are a lot of people out there that just aren't very understanding about it either.
Well, lack of education is a big thing because when you're faced with families and friends, and I grew up in a small country town and church and things like that, and the lack of knowledge of it, it's a moral issue a lot of times with a lot of people, rather than a sickness or, a spiritual downfall or whatever. But like I said, the more people educate themselves and the more they allow people to speak and just to listen, they can learn to help other people the same way and have a different approach to it, which has a lot better results.
Yeah. Well, you got a good life. You're now living in southern Florida. And are you continuing to write music and involved in the music scene?
I am. I continue to do things, and there are things back and forth with the writing with Nashville, some things in the works. But I'm very choosy about where I play, and I'm very choosy about what message I give when I'm playing, because music really moves people. And I've been given a platform that I can do my profession, enjoy what I do, and at the same time it can be used to spark some kind of hope or to mend or help heal somebody's brokenness. And like I said, you can go on YouTube under Jody Lee Hager if you want to listen to the story and type my name in Hollywood. So if you type Jody Lee Hager /Hollywood, there'll be videos on there of me playing different places, but the story will be on there with me just sitting down telling it and playing the song.
Yeah. What advice would you give young people today about sampling things?
Oh, well, that's, young people are going to be young people, but the things that are going on now, especially with the opioids, it's just, if you do that, or you have a problem and you think you don't, you're doing things you wouldn't normally do, talk to somebody. But as far as just, anything you put in your body that changes the natural you can't be good. There's nothing wrong with you the way you are, and a lot of us, the low self-esteem and wanting to be different has a lot to do with it. And honestly, nobody's going to live their fullest life until they actually become themselves. Right.
And of course, escapism is another thing, too, and I'm not sure what you do about that.
There's help out there with everything. There's local help. There's, again, talking to somebody. But a lot of emotions are going on, especially with teenagers. And just, us as adults and also me in recovery, you never know what you do. You never know the life you'll change, even if you think they're not paying attention or things. Be an example. Understand. The biggest thing, I think, is the misunderstanding from adults and families and pastors and things like that don't have the education and treat it as a moral downfall rather than, it's looked at different. So
I think you're exactly right. Yeah, I think you're exactly right. Jody Lee Hager, thank you so much for being with us this morning. Certainly enjoyed visiting with you, and maybe we can visit again sometime.
Thank you, Ken, so much.
All right. Thank you, sir, and have a great day.